He does that a lot. Lauren had to care of her pregnancy, and she just was, and he worked a lot from home and helped her out and looked after her. It's good that you can do that.
Yeah. So CGI are our contractor for IT, they provide it is tabby, isn't it?
It is, very much so.
Hi, how are you? How are you?
Don't do it! You know what's shocking?
Where's that?
Oh, so just like every week. If you walk around the side door, you can go around the back and you go on the other
Oh, in that big nose there, round the back.
Better to go along there.
And a very good afternoon to you all as we bring this NPL Tasmania round 16 action your way. The Hobart Zebras taking on the Devonport Strikers. I'm Andrew Cooling. Joining me shortly will be Paul Hunt and Jake Morgan. A little bit tardy, those two gentlemen, so I'll be running you through the pre-game here of what looks an intriguing fixture between two very good teams. Certainly a must-win game for the Devonport Strikers. They're coming off a difficult last 2 weeks. They've dropped points back-to-back games, losing to South Hobart, and then a frustrating 0-0 with somewhat of a bogey team of theirs in Launceston City last week. So they're now 4 points behind South Hobart at the top of the table, as you can see there, meaning the stakes are very high for them today. They simply must get the 3 points. South Hobart have Clarence tomorrow. You'd expect them to bank 3 points there. Any drop points today could well be a game over as far as the title race is concerned. They did claim a victory the last time they played the Zebras. It was 1-0 on that day. It was a pretty tight fought affair, devoid of chances for the most part. Yeah, it wasn't too long ago, but the Zebras have gone through a pretty rough trot in the last couple of months. They were sitting pretty with 13 points from the first 5 games, just 10 points in their last 10 games. It's been quite the drop-off in form. Paul Hunt, who's just slided in alongside me here.
Sunny Saturday here in Hobart, as you were alluding to before. We were here last time not too long ago, and as you were saying, Zebras forms hit a bit of a slide. Devonport's also has as well, 1 point from the last 6 possible. Obviously, being on top of the table for that, it's not too much of an impact, but they really do need to win here today to keep alive the chance of winning the premiership here on the NPL Tas this year. Some very interested onlookers as well, as I was looking around. Ken Morton on the first side, scouting, and a few other Tasmanian football luminaries. And yeah, nice atmosphere here today. It's beautiful conditions for football. Last time we were here, it was blowing an absolute gale. So I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, certainly a nice day as we have a look at the South Hobart Scouting Committee over there, and probably the biggest supporters of the Hobart Zebras today. I thought the South Hobart camp over there, they'd be very, very happy if the home side could take the points. Certainly they've suddenly got to look to defend 4th place on the table, with a couple of teams creeping up over their shoulder, and they'll look to get back on track today as we have a look at the side tasked with doing that. At the top there, number 16, expect him on the left, Jack Gates, who's been up and down this year. Jack Gates, he's had some very good moments. We didn't have his best game the last time these sides met, but he's a real game breaker at times. Number 7, Callan Griffin, thought he played quite well down at the Den last week, slotted into a midfield role. Despite their drop-off in form, still the best defence in the competition, the Zebras, and that is largely due to number 5 there, Nicholas Gronwald. He has been absolutely superb with his defensive partner, Imran Lewis. No Jaden Hay in the lineup today. He's on vacation, I think, somewhere. Either way, he's not out in the middle of the pitch, so that's a bit of a blow. He's a real difference maker for them. And Luke Warriner will slide in at left back, but they do have a returning number 9, Dwayne Walsh, the reigning Mitsubishi medalist, and I think they've really been lacking the drive that he brings. Number 2, Teddy Kadisha, a very versatile player, has been used in a number of roles. He gets a start today. Lewis, as we touched on, Gronwald's defensive partner, he's been very good too. Seldom loses a one-on-one duel, and Marcelo Mercuri in net has been pretty reliable too. Number 15, Matthew Pace, played out wide last week, got him behind the lines pretty well, and he'll be looking to do that today, especially with Devonport using those attacking wing-backs. There's usually a little bit of space in behind for the wide men to operate in. Matthew Sanders has dropped a little bit deeper in recent times and played more of a midfield role, and they've been unable to score perhaps due to lacking his presence up top. So it'll be interesting to see if that is the case today. Number 2, Luke Huxley, number 13 rather, Luke Huxley will start up leading the line, but his goal output's dropped off since Chris Downs departed, and I don't think that's a coincidence. He was very adept at picking out the big scone of Lukey Huxley. Luke Warriner will line up at left back. On the bench, Ackley, Megan Reid and John Booger. Interesting lineup. It's good to see Teddy Kadisha finally get a start. Obviously he's been used as a sub for a lot of the last year and a half, unfortunately, so good to see him get a start. It's going to be very interesting what formation they play. A lot of midfielders, obviously a few will play left back, right back. We've seen Griffin play at right back previously, but then was in his more natural centre mid role last week against Kingborough, just getting that 1-1 draw with a
stoppage time penalty from Jaden Hay, who I think is actually a really big out here today. It's usually a crucial difference. As we see Dwayne Walsh as well, a big in. They've certainly missed that pace out wide the last 2 weeks. I've seen Adam Sunday McCune down on the bench as well, still in tracksuit, so he'll be a couple of more weeks away from starting. But a good solid lineup from Zebras, but I think the goal output from Matthew Sanders, while he's still their leading goal scorer, I think he may need to increase that from that centre attacking mid-roll if Zebras would have any chance of getting anything out of this game.
And I had a hankering for some kernels on the way here, and I suspect that's exactly what we'll be seeing here today.
What a stylish introduction from yourself there, JK.
Absolutely, absolutely. And how are we today, boys?
Yeah,
very exciting day of football we've got ahead.
Yeah, looking forward to it beginning here at KG5. An interesting battle, as we touched on, a must-win game for Devonport, and we'll move along to their starting lineup here in a second and take a look at a pretty consistent starting 11 and no real surprises in that starting lineup. Perhaps Millington on the bench, the only real shock there. Luca Argent getting a start, but Young will start at the top. Henry Andrews will start in midfield. He's had a fantastic year, the rangy Andrews. He's an impact player, a young fellow with plenty of strings to his bow, and I've enjoyed his work immensely this year. Argent got a start last week, didn't last too long, and injury hasn't kept him out this week, which is good to see. Number 4, Eddie Bidwell, starting a right wing back, been nailed on in that position all year.
Does well.
He's he's done very well, Bidwell, and the Dance brothers also impressive youngsters. And looking forward to seeing what they can do. One in the middle of the park, one in the middle of defence. They're going to be important today. Number 10, Michael Holden, perhaps the real game breaker in this strikers lineup. I'd expect him in that attacking role rather than his wing-back role today.
The big turtle.
He was the difference between the sides last year. Liam Knott, you'd expect to line up in a left wing-back spot. Him back in the lineup. He and Holden have been swapping into that one recently. Number 9, Braden Mann. It's, the captain, the inspiration, star man for the Strikers. He'll have a mountain of work to do, and he was just superb last time he played Zebras on this ground. Speaking of superb, Raphael Reynolds, what a matchup he should be. His duel with Luke Hughes.
The only bloke that I've ever seen play well as a centre-back in a 3-0 defeat this year, Raph Reynolds. He put in a pretty decent shift at South Hobart as they crumbled to a 3-0 defeat on that day, so certainly one of the star centre-backs of the league.
Yeah, he's been absolutely immense this year. I think you'd have to lock him into any Team of the Year calculations. Dom Smith, he'll play on the left side of that back three. He's also continued to improve. It's really, I suppose, the passing side of his game's come out a bit more this year. He was a real stopper last season, but he's looked quite comfortable on the ball. He's continued to develop. And in net, number 1, Matthew Zykos. On the bench, Millington, Arand and Wicks. So a couple of good offensive options there. The big physical presence of Lindsay Millington could be one they look to introduce as we go on. And before we get started here, gentlemen, some tips for this contest.
I think that Devonport have a lot more on the line in this game here today, and for the Zebras, the season's pretty much over now, and essentially just going through the paces. But Devonport certainly want to keep touch with South Hobart and try and make this an entertaining finish in the league this year. So I think they'll be pulling out a 2-1 victory here today with Braden Mann on fire.
Yeah, nearly took the tip right out of my mouth there, Morgs. I'm going to say 2-0 Devonport. I do think Braden Mann will have a very good game. While Zebras, I guess they're in that holding pattern because they're probably going to stay in the top 4 for the final series, but I can't realistically see them moving up any further. So it's probably just about trying to get the right balance in the team and just work on a few things. I mean, most of their players are very good at getting up for just about any game, so as our setup here is absolutely superb this afternoon.
It is. Glorious day, though. I saw a bit of rain further out in the northern suburbs, which could be on the way.
You're further out in the northern suburbs. It's a scary proposition.
Even further out, it is a scary proposition.
As captains,
it might run into old mate David Walsh.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Well, we're only one Walsh, and that's Wayno getting his first
the better
start in a while.
Walsh.
The better Walsh.
The reigning medalist.
Tasmania.
He's back out there today making a start, but perhaps somewhat offset by the omission of Jaden Hay from the starting lineup. So
they say that football is worth art, and I'd say that this Walsh will be worth more in art terms to this side And David Walsh is for the northern suburbs generally.
Well, I feel like the Dwayne Walsh he brings perhaps more aesthetically pleasing moments for me to enjoy than what passes for art. But you know, subjective they say. But I think I'd rather be watching Dwayne Walsh than staring at a painting.
Yeah, I'd rather watch his boot. That's for sure.
His artistic footwork and just general, I'd say it's better than 99% of everything further up the northern suburbs.
And flashy boots, which is always something we like to see up here in the slice of cheese
don't know
commentary
about
position. Well, some of us do. The staunch traditionalist in the middle, of course, always has to have
I'm
a
a man of the people.
Old man yells at cloud type syndrome from you, Jake. But looking forward to this one, I'm also going to go with the Devonport Strikers. I think motivations on the two different teams. I think they've got a little bit more to play for, and I think Jaden Hay is a major out for this Zebras side. So I'll go the Strikers. I reckon a repeat of last time they met 1-0. I don't think there'll be many goals in this one. I think we've got two very good defences today.
It rarely is when Devonport play away.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be terribly expansive.
We're
underway here at KG5. Holden lays it back.
Could have a wager on first goal scorer with me calling.
A wager on first goal scorer.
Yeah.
I could never do such a thing.
I'll
Jake,
bet you a cup of coffee that it'll be man first.
All right, I'll go Turtle Holden. Who you got, Funty?
Let's go, just to mix it up, Luca Argent off a deflected tap in.
Oh,
geez, that is oddly specific.
Well done. Well done, Paul. If that comes out, you'll be getting yourself the commentary medal for the year.
I'm earning this Goffy.
So we're
the Andy Gray medal.
Griffin punches forward, Reynolds chesting that one down, and retreats back there to Zykos. Takes a moment to assess the field, and Argent looks like he's the most advanced of the Devonport players in this lineup, so appears to be taking Millington's spot in the starting lineup, and perhaps won't have the aerial presence of Millington, and he was never going to beat Big Nick Grunwald in the air, that's for sure.
I hope I don't see that too often the rest of this evening, because Grunwald for a start is about 5 inches taller.
I don't think we have to worry too much about Devonport playing the long ball. It's certainly not been their MO this year. It's a very different beast from 2016 as Imran Lewis lays it back to Marcelo Mercuri.
I had long blacks in my eyes then. Beautiful streaky pressure there from the big man. And a little bit of a clattering challenge there from Raph Reynolds. And
cynical.
Yeah, he does go for a little jog away from the referee because he knows that his dose of dairy is coming and duly delivered there.
That's a very early dose of dairy for Raph Reynolds.
To be honest, from the challenge he earned it because I think it was that Jack Gates who was about to streak into the box just there. But a really beautiful position on the free kick here for the Zebras, and they'll fancy themselves early.
Not wanting to diminish Grunwald's free kick taking ability, but
here we go. We'll have another look at this too, Paul.
There
a little bit of a clattering challenge. Quite a deliberate little check there, so fair enough that he's going the cheese pretty early because
he's borderline one-on-one with the keeper. If he doesn't make that, doesn't he? This is Pete. What I was going to allude to is this is Chris Downs' territory. Unfortunately, he's in the UK, so we'll see what the Chicago kid can do from this free kick.
Got a talented boot, Hoogie at the far post, but it doesn't get over the wall this time.
Yeah, just trying to give Andrews concussion rather than goals, but that's the first corner of the match.
Yeah, he's quite slightly built, old Andrews. If you thumped it hard enough, you'd be worried you snapped him in half if a big Lukey Hoogsloot was getting over the ball.
Yeah, talented player, no doubt, but the kind of person who you'd want to sit in the gym for a year before you put him out on the field.
Oh, he's a pretty... How old is he? 17?
He's 17, yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible.
As we see the cross taken low, should be cleared effectively. Turtle Holden scuffs it, and Hughes-Sloot gets a foot to it. That should be a corner.
I mean, when I was 17, I was picking my nose and sleeping in maths class, so power to young Andrews getting out there as a 17-year-old and being an established member of this Devonport side.
See the cross coming in, looking towards Griffin. End up back out to the Colonel. Lobs it back in. Grunwald gets the head to it. Hughes-Sloot in position and shot wide. And
he had to score
from 4 yards out.
He had to score.
Extraordinary miss from base there. Brilliant shielding from Hughes-Sloot. Just holds the defender out. Says, there you go, put it in the back of the net. That's inexplicable.
Wow.
You've got to be bearing that.
That is one of the misses of the season there today, and they could be left to rue that, the Hobart Zebras.
There's another one.
Oh, that is a pretty incredible stat that we've got going up on our screen there with the first ever slice of cheese, apparently, for Raph Reynolds.
Very much the Rio Ferdinand type defender where very rarely gets a card.
Clean ball playing centre-back.
Yeah, that's what we like to see as we see Andrews Pressured well by Hughes-Lute, now to Reynolds. He's got Sanders tracking back. Eventually finds Mann, who's on the outside of the foot.
Yeah, linking up a little bit too much for me after that early call. I'd like to see Mann getting on the end of it, perhaps reverting to last year's role a bit more.
Yeah,
just for today,
that's a lovely ball from Cal Griffin as Gates March. He's got one in the box, which is Sanders. He's got pace short, but good covering defence from Devonport.
Well done, Eddie Bidwell there.
That's why he's the superstar, Eddie Bidwell.
He really is.
One of the best right backs in the competition.
Well, they've probably replaced... Well, they've had the two best right backs in the league over the last 2 years. There is, without a doubt, the Devonport strikers, with Gorry moving to South Hobart. But we'll just hear as the ball's crossed in and Grunwald had stayed up. The ball's just attempted to be lobbed forward by Callan, but they concede possession again, and Devonport looked to get on the break before Gates just blocks it out of play.
We're actually seeing Zebras have the majority of the early play here in this contest. I haven't really seen Devonport cross their halfway line yet. This time they will through the long throw. Argent will play the target man, but unfortunately throwing that one out for a throw-in.
Yeah, it's not a role you'd really necessarily pencil Luke Argent in for, the target man role, but he does have very good skills when he gets on the ball. He should be able to hold it up a little bit. If he's not got the physical traits, he's certainly got the first touch to be able to play that role, as Sanders just snuck in there just to try to delay the kick a little. Very Riley and in around Lewis. Oh, cool as the other side of the pillow to get around Man. Sends it wide to Warriner. Very nicely done there by Lewis.
Like watching us Vivian Imran Lewis little sweep off the pads there. Well done.
What I found interesting
out of danger.
What I found interesting after that is Grunwald proceeded to give him an earful after that nice turn. So I'm not sure what's up there, and that's
fantastic defending there again from Lewis too. Just as the pressure was coming in thick and fast from Devonport, he's done quite well.
I reckon the serve is just still the Savilleology at work in this Zebra side, because certainly would have given him a bait, Carl Saville, for something like that. You don't take chances in your defensive half. And very much his mantra as Warriner feeds it forward for Gates, looking to get him behind here. Dance across, swings it in, but plenty of strikers on hand to repel that one, and away it goes. Ronwald can go take the throw, but promising signs early here from the Zebras. They've started the brighter of the two teams. The direct approach from Gronwald. Hughes-Lute takes a touch, again looking to shield the ball. Tenacious work though from Braden Mann, and he draws the foul to boot. Very nicely done from the strikers captain.
You certainly know that Devonport aren't afraid to sit deep and soak up a little bit of pressure, because they do have players that can utterly punish you on the break, with the likes of Turtle Holden and Mann in particular, who are very, very good on the transition. So seems that they're content to take a bit of pressure here in the away game, but they'll certainly carry a threat all game.
So here is Luca Argent. Lays it back for Andrews. Blocked off by Hughes-Lute. Doing some good scrapping early in this one. Here's big Lukey Hughes-Lute. Using his body well in the early moments of this one. Gronwald. Down the guts he goes, and Walsh looking to get him behind. They've missed his bursting runs down the right. They'll be very glad to have Dwayne Walsh back in there, as that one's rather sloppily allowed to go out of play.
Yeah, very, very sloppy play there. And we'll see Kadisha take the throw in, looking for Sanders. Just lost it in the sun a tad. Now it will be returned to Kadisha. Good tracking back from Argent. Now Walsh just gets a foot in. Now Hughes-Lute. There's a bit of kicking and pushing there between
I want to see
Dance and
Lukey
Hughes-Lute.
get over this ball, to be honest.
I'd like to see one just chipped onto his...
Onto the big dome.
Onto the big dome, but I've got a feeling this... So we just have another look at that in the back kick, and then just leaves the leg in there as well, Hughes-Lute. Nicely done.
Yeah, no way Hughes-Lute's having this one. Gronwald's pulled rank and gone, I'll just have another crack at this one. He couldn't quite get it up over the head. He's got a good technique, Gronwald, from these close range ones. The Colonel might fancy this, but he steps over and allows the Chicago kid to again pick out the head of the wall. So he's given 2 concussions early on in this one. He might get a chance with the laces here, but he drove it well wide of the post.
Certainly did, and the concussion count is almost the same as the shot count at the moment from the Zebras. Luckily, there's now someone actually positioned behind the goal to claim this ball. It's coming right off the head of Braden Mann.
Going the body line method here. If you can't get him out, knock him out.
Wow.
We're in for a classic game here today. Body line KGV.
Well,
It's better than frontline, KGB.
We got Sir Vivian Imran out there, so perhaps fitting.
Well, there hasn't been any fires today, so it seems like frontline haven't turned up to watch the competitors in action.
Well, the Knights boys were playing in the challenge before here, and Julie crushing Beachside 7-2, so they would have been happy had they been out there, but might be down at the Southern Championship game, I suspect.
Yeah, I did see a couple of Beachside players on the way in, and it looked like there'd been a death in the family, to be honest.
Yeah, pretty morbid scenes post-game as Braden Mann looks to get the strikers going forwards. He's got options here. He skips around pace and just delayed his progress nicely in the end. Now he might swing this one to the back post. It's a lovely ball there for young Knott, but beaten away there by Teddy Kadesha. Did it very nicely to beat out Knott. And now Dwayne Walsh looking to get involved, but Andrews wins it back. Cross to Raf Reynolds. Striding out of defence, the big centre half. To his captain man, jinking inside. Holden making a run through the middle. Together Griffin and Pace see it away from him, and no foul blown there, so
I think there was a foul in there too. Might be a bit stiff here, the Devonport strikers, as we see Dwayne Walsh try and take on the Devonport defender, but nothing doing again, and they'll just recycle it out the other side through Turtle Holden. He looks up and tries to play pass with man, but it's given away to Warriner, who looks for Gates. Intercepted there by one of the Dance brothers. Gets his head up and tries to look at Argent, who was making a run through, but just continues dribbling and then plays it in short to him. He looks out wide and tries to flick it back over the top to Argent, but only as far as Pace, who looks to get things going quickly, but just gives it away to another one of the Dance brothers.
Giving that away twice in a row rather cheaply. Have the Zebras trying to pass it out from the back. That one's a little better. It's hit the first target, which is Gates, who now bursts down the sideline. But one down speed just hits it to the head of Reynolds. Usually was lining that one up. Probably saw it was 35 out and didn't, and maybe should have, as he ends up rolling it straight to Zykos in the end. Now rolling out through Dom Smith. Nice slide challenge from the man with the longest legs in the NPL, Hugh Sloot. Sanders on the ball. Hugh Sloot, a little bit of a heavy touch. Up with Andrews, Mann, Argent, Kadesha and Griffin both look at each other, and one of Devonport's fan favourites gets a fantastic challenge served against him from Kadesha.
Oh yes, Kadesha, that was imposing challenge. I almost like to see that one on the highlights reel, because it was all ball and he's just put his opposition man on the floor as well.
Twice he's shut down Argent there, and one one-on-one duels as Turtle Holden tries to get around Griffin, but a good challenge from Callan Griffin, letting that screening role early on here and shutting that one down effectively. Dom Smith with the throw-in duties.
Yeah, stole a good 3 metres there. That's the absolute minimum there from Dom Smith. As you see Grunwald with the covering challenge there.
Just sweeping across the big Chicago kid.
I think that one's ended up in Anthill Street. I don't think we'll be seeing
I'll tell
that
you
ball
what,
for
too,
a while.
this linesman we've got on the near side has a little too much hair around the side of his head, to be honest, compared to our glorious Nathan Code that we've usually got running the line.
Well, I don't think it's going to become the strict policy of
I think it
linesmen.
should be, to be honest. It should be the uniform.
Good luck getting that one pushed through. Mercury will take
All
the
for
go
the
quick.
referee's hairstyle code of conduct
Exactly.
implemented by...
Mullet is mandatory.
I expect to see that at the next committee meeting.
And Marcelo Mercury get things started here. Devonport really creating any meaningful moments in attack just yet. And 2 in the middle here. One of them was Dance. He headed it straight up in the air to Griffin. Dance and Andrews combine. Overlapping run here from Bidwell. Hugh Sloot doing some defensive work, came across. Shut it down. Now Jack Gates looking to run at Dance. He knocks it past him, but coughed it up to him. Now retreat back to Zykos. Under pressure from Walsh. That was a little dicey, but he just got away with it.
He certainly read it, didn't he, the Dwayne Pipe?
Yeah, very much lurking about there. He'll be a physical presence. Wayne Walsh, he'll run hard all day and pressure your defence and keeper. That's what he brings to the table. Here now, he's not crossing dangerously across the face and put behind rather wisely in the end by Warriner.
And the person in the box there was Luca Argent, waiting to pounce on a tap-in. As we have to see a replay of this, which way Zykos was determined to switch that play where there was 2 free Devonport players. Absolutely no matter what.
One of those moments where you think as a footballer, why can't I use these damn arms?
Yeah, he
Bring back the back pass rule.
Oh,
playing with fire there. Corner swinging near post away by the Colonel. Might get another crack at it, but Lewis is across to win a strong header away from Holden. And then very nicely kept in there, the Colonel, hustling and bustling and playing it back to Warriner, who clears the area with a long punt in the Ralph Reynolds
And he
direction.
was as slippery as a Colonel's grease trap right there, wasn't he? Well done, Matthew Sanders.
Cross to Knott. Looks up and has time to assess his options. Opts to give it to the captain, Braden Mann, who curls one in dangerously. Oh, some mix up there from Warriner.
Bidwell.
A chance perhaps for Holden. But it doesn't sit for them, and Mercury again will come across. But better signs this from Devonport in the last
Yeah, a
few
bit
minutes.
of a disappointing ball there from Bidwell when he was trying to pick out Turtle Holden there, because I had absolute goals in my eyes there, and I was going to be owing a cup of coffee to you, Andrew Cooling. Fortunately for me, my man Eddie Bidwell didn't lay it on the plate for him. Just good pressure there too from Jesse Dance to just drive Gates out of play there, and they'll recycle quickly here, the Devonport strikers, and look to get it going up the left through Dom Smith. Picks up a Braden Mann who's dropped very deep indeed, and under some good pressure from pace. Ralph Reynolds just opts to play it up the middle and plays Andrews into a bit of trouble, but he's given a bit of a whack on the way through there and earns the free kick.
You see Ralph Reynolds looking for options. Going out wide off the shoulder. It actually works out to be a very nice touch from Bidwell. Has Argent inside, but Grunwald picks that one out and now strides forward. Nice ball to Gates. I think the breeze, though, will blow that one out for a goal kick. And the breeze playing a huge impact.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a breeze factor coming out to play here at the moment, but just enough for it to be a factor, but not enough for it to turn the game on its head. But it certainly seems to be favouring the Zebras' end at this stage.
It wasn't too heavy, but it was enough to give me a nice tailwind push on my bike ride here this afternoon.
Oh, the bike ride.
I know.
Your training, Paul. You're
Tempting fate.
making a appearance for the Newtown Eagles sometime soon again.
God, no.
I'd like you as a big imposing target man.
Well, that's actually what I ended up playing towards the end of my career. I went from right back to target man.
You've got the build of a target man, fun.
What, generally overweight?
Oh, I like big Alex Ross Kitchener as a target man.
We're getting very obscure here now, boys, as Walshy will charge down the right and Reynolds is across to deal with that. He centres it rather dicely to the Colonel. He snuck it home. The keeper gets a piece of it. Not enough to keep it out. Matty Sanders has the Zebras ahead. A soft back pass. It's just invited the Colonel in. He says, so thank you very much.
Dom Smith or Liam Knott with that back pass there, who's just utterly sold his team down the river. Or in fact, it's actually Ralph Reynolds. Oh, that's the most dire mistake that I've seen from him this season. And
First mistake all season, I think.
gee, I just about think that Zykos could have gotten a piece of that too. So the Zebras have made them pay for a sloppy bit of play here at KG5, and they lead 1-0 at the moment. Looks like there'll be no coffees for any of us boys. Terrible tips for first goal scorer.
Yep. I mean, you were, I think, the only person who actually tipped Zebras to score in this game at all. So it's not a bad effort from you there, Morg.
No, I had a hankering for the Colonels today, and it's duly delivered.
Yeah, you certainly have. As we see Braden Mann try to put that through tonight, but Kadisha uses his body well. Now Griffin. Thank you to the stats man.
Yeah.
13th goal of the season for Matty Sanders.
Been quite a prolific season for what has otherwise been a little bit disappointing for the Zebras outfit that lost the coach partway through the season and haven't really kept pace with the big challenges this year in Devonport and South Hobart and even the Olympia Warriors.
It's an odd season for Zebras. They're on the equal least goals conceded, and they've got the second best goal scorer, yet are about 10 points off the pace. So it's an interesting season. As we see,
Is Sanders,
I think that's pace. Yeah,
is Sanders
that's,
second now? I was under the impression it was Turtle Holden.
I think he's finally overtaken the since departed Turtle Holden. As that's a nice through ball. Argent nearly in. Imran Lewis just pushing him out of the way. Braden Mann ropeable at that shielding work at the referee, but nothing given. It was very interesting. We'll have another look. Smart defence from Imran Lewis. Just ran a bit straighter as Luke Argent was trying to run diagonal.
Yeah, it's like a cornerback trying to cover a wide receiver there. Just the hand fighting going on as they charge down the middle. It just impeded his process well. That long ball will be eaten up by Zykos.
It was almost like he was trying to run the route right down the sideline and then cut in, and the cornerback was having none of that.
There's the deep end zone route, that one, as Grunwald plays it to Sanders. Clever little flick on back to his centre back who's worked forward, and that's a lovely ball, just ever so slightly overhit for Walsh.
He was alert to it though, Zykos, so well done.
Readied on the Devonport bench here, so someone's about to come off here very early on. I'm not sure what's going on there, we'll have a look, but it looks perhaps like Wixie, I think, was the man being prepared down there.
Nearly just cut out there from Marcelo Mercuri. We've seen Wicks been brought on as a sub and then subbed off in the one game. I've seen him brought off early, and now he's coming on early. My non-injury related guess would be Argent, but I'm not saying that with any confidence at all. So it's a very interesting change.
Well, you certainly know that
from Gallo
that Saville isn't coaching either of these teams at the moment, don't you, boys? Because that is a very early sub.
That is a very early sub.
And no one appears to be on the ground dead, so they don't really fit his criteria of an injury-related sub either. So interesting. I can't see anyone really limping about. Maybe Argent's not sprinting around, but nothing obviously jumping out at us. But Gallo's perhaps not happy with his first 20 minutes here.
He's taking off Zykos. He's not happy with the goal that was conceded.
Well, I doubt Wixie's going to line up between the sticks, so we'll wait and see.
Heavily offensive lineup.
The shortest goalkeeper is not actually wins that header from Lewis. I wonder if Zebras are just trying to keep the ball in play to avoid this sub. He's been waiting down there for a good minute or two as Wixie, and now Vivian, the long sleeves, looking forward to the Colonel.
So we need the electronic board, boys.
We do. We do. As Bidwell now picks it up, Argent playing advanced forward role, ends up going back to Dance. Not too many options ahead, so it's probably going to go long, and it does. Trying to get him behind Grunwald, but he'll pick that out 9 times out of 10, and Hughesloot whacks it forward. No one in the vicinity, and Reynolds is giving it away again cheaply to the Dwayne Pipe. He plays it. It's placed Turtle Holden, just gets in the way. Wide to Knott.
He's having a bit of a mare today, Raph Reynolds. And that is not what you want to see when you're trying to keep touch with the league leaders in South Hobart.
And it's Liam Knott coming off. And Harrison Weeks going, looks like a like for like.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be having any trouble moving down there, Liam Knott. Just a bit of an angry shake of the head as he walks away too, which suggests that this could be a tactical move from a strikers team that have gone behind early.
I like it from Gallo. I like a coach who's not afraid to make the early sub. He's seen something that's clearly earned his ire, and he's pulled the trigger. So
Wixie will want to defend well here after being subbed on, and that he does. So let's score 1-0 to the coach there. Very good early sub.
He should offer them a bit going forwards as Reynolds carrying out through traffic here. Again, a little bit dicey, and they eventually find their way past the long legs of Hughesloot, and Turtle Holden storming forward, looked to play the killer first time ball. But an error from Lewis has almost allowed Argent in. He recovered it, and he'll whisk it away in the end, but it was very dicey there for a moment. Gathered by Smith. He might look to switch the play. They've got some openings on the right here if they can work it out that way. Great challenge from Hughesloot. Saw it away from Andrews with a timely foot there, and Copper spotted something. It's going to be brought back. And now Striker's allowed to play. Anyway, Reynolds goes into the middle for Braden Mann. Been drifting around the midfield in this one early, trying to get on the ball and drive his side forwards. Dom Smith again pulling the trigger and looking to switch the play. Bustling stuff from Warrener. Forced a retreat. And again, Devonport just content to knock it around the back and try and find an opening here. Andrews to Holden. Zebra's holding their shape really well. Now chipped over the top for Wicks, who snuck forward. Wicks laid it off for Argent. A sliding Gronwald saw it away from him. And good defence from the Zebras.
I'm enjoying the defensive shape the Zebras are keeping. Nice touch there from Dance. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and lays it off to Andrews. Good pressure from Zebras, especially these They're certainly wanting to
Oh
recycle.
dear, they're in
There's-
trouble here.
Sanders has a missed touch, and Reynolds eventually clears that. I certainly think Zebras have seen something where Devonport like to let the ball roll across their body and switch the play quickly, and they're just intercepting.
They appear to be overplaying the ball a little bit at the back, the Devonport strikers, but they're in a good spot here now as they play it out to Braden Mann on the left-hand side, who looks to get in an early cross, but the imperious Lewis heads it away yet again. Andrews looks to recover, and he plays it out wide to Mann, and they look back inside. They've got quite a few numbers forward here, the Devonport strikers, and would really want to be making something of it, but you won't be with touches like that from Eddie Bidwell, and they've given it away. And Warrener looks to break up the left-hand side. He plays it forward to Gates, but it's just starting to get bogged down in midfield here after some threatening possession there from the Devonport strikers.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Warrener, it'd be interesting what they do out wide. Warrener's very much a fullback who likes to press immediately as the ball's coming there, so if you can try and play a wall pass or something around, it's a way to get in behind there as Sanders looks to the Dwayne pipe. Hits the byline, got Smith for company. Good defence there, still in play. And I think it's going to be out for a goal kick. It is.
Yeah, really well defended there from Dom Smith. He had the measure of the Dwayne pipe there and stuck to him very tightly just to force the error there. They'll look to get things going quickly again into attack as the Devonport strikers do. They look up and find Argent there, who weaves and turns and finds Andrews. Andrews looks outside to Bidwell. They're just not seeming to be rushing forward as quickly as they have in previous games here, the Devonport strikers today. The build-up plays a little bit slower perhaps. Don't know about what you think about that, Funty.
Yeah, just not quite getting that third and fourth pass together as well. Make that thought. Turtle Holden's got two forward. Nice through ball. Braden Mann,
and he's finished it.
Braden Mann with a lovely run.
Just
Turtle
as
Holden.
you say that they're not attacking with any kind of pace, they go and do that out of nowhere. What a little beautiful through ball that was for Braden Mann, who was just calm and composed and cool and tucked it into the far corner. Yeah, lovely finish.
The tangent I was about to go on was their first two passes are okay, but their third and fourth to get in the final third weren't as good.
well.
Turtle Holden, for the first time match, has done it perfectly, and there's their first goal.
And that showed what we flagged at the beginning of the game, though, Funty, because, oh, what a beautiful finish that is. Just nice little snick on it, really, there from Braden Mann.
Yeah, calm finish from the Devonport marksman.
Gets them back into the game, and we've got a game on here today.
We certainly do. It's certainly more high scoring already than I think a few of us thought here, especially given the last game we watched here, as it's nicely cut out from Wicks and pressures Kadisha. Going to look for Dwayne Walsh. There's two there on the Dwayne pipe. Kadisha gets it back down. Walsh plays the 1-2. Kadisha in the corner. It's got Smith to beat, but elects to run it out for a throw. And Reynolds comes across. Yeah, and there's proof.
That is some record, isn't it, Funty?
Of his marksman ability for Braden Mann.
122nd goal that he has scored in the top flight of the National Premier League's Tasmania.
Yeah, not a bad record from Braden Mann.
Not a bad record.
Fair to say, I reckon could be one that he's on the Golden Lucas named after.
That is a bigger understatement than saying that the Bombers were good last night.
Yeah, similar levels of understating, I think, as Braden Mann.
Certainly, I'd rather Braden Mann's quality over that any day, as the long ball from the man cut out. Warrener fires that one into the creek. That's, yeah, an impressive
another one
goal
for
scoring.
Humphreys.
Hey, mate, I've already corrected that. None of that. As we have another replay. Turtle Holden.
Oh,
yeah, Kadisha dropped 5 yards off.
You almost think
turned.
that the keeper got himself stranded a little bit there, and
a little
he was in a little bit of two minds there. He took the quick 2 steps out there, but when you've got a player like Braden Mann bearing down on you, he will make you pay.
Yeah, it's just a clinical finisher, and mightn't have scored quite as many this year due to the midfield role, or consistently, certainly, has still hit the score sheet, but he just gets in there, makes those intelligent runs, and he's just bombed in from deep. They couldn't track the run, and he says a thank you. Very tidy finish indeed to get it back on terms, and they've grown into this game after a slow start. They've started to turn the screws a little, and Holden surely fouled here. Griffin all
and
over
he
him.
likes the look of this Braden man. He's run over to the ball and seized upon it, and he's ready to go. Actually looking to play the quick one there for a second he was, but I'll be expecting him to try and put this into that top right corner of the goal.
I've seen him do it.
Oh, I've seen him do it a few times too. It's a threatening sight, this,
Yeah, good
for
chance
any
here.
opposition.
Marcelo Mercury getting his wall organised, and he'll do well to make sure that that is lined up perfectly, because if there's anything wrong with it, Braden Mann is the man to take
taking
advantage.
up
He steps
position
up,
very close to his left here as he
curls
goes
it
to
in,
far.
and a good save in the end.
And that was just what I was thinking that Braden Mann might try there, because Mercury was well over to his left there and Braden Mann's right, so he opted to go in the other direction but couldn't quite get the power and connection that he needed there. But a good thought there from Braden Mann. Really growing into this game, you're right there, Cooling.
Certainly so, as we see Reynolds pick the ball up and look to spray it wide immediately. Through Bidwell. He's got Argent ahead as well as Dance. Knocks it inside. It's another nice ball. Turtle Holden in a foot race with Grunwald. And Grunwald manages to do rather well, but now to Warren up, now to pace. Gates on the outside, Sanders inside. Finds the Colonel. Now Hughie. Back to Sanders, who will try and find Kadesh. He's got Wicks immediately closing him down. Back to Sir Vivian, who must be a bit cold today with the long skins and long arm and gloves. He's fully wrapped up today. That's a nice flick on header from the Dwayne Pipe. Sanders pressuring Reynolds. Good physical battle. Colonel
A little
wins
bit
out on
colder
that
in
one.
the northern suburbs than it is in the Caribbean, that's for sure.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a smidge.
Certainly know which one of those two places I'd rather be in at the moment. Definitely the northern suburbs.
Oh, maybe if it had some light rail. Or
Light-
some red awnings even.
Maybe even a cable car, you never know.
Yeah.
All the-
Casino.
Yeah, definitely. As we see Grunwald look to the back post and cleared away.
Yeah, the commentary is getting a bit too ludicrous too early here from me. So.
Oh man, too many planning development jokes already, as we see.
A natural companion to football commentary. As we see Warrener get onto the ball, and he looks to play it short to Luke Hooksloot, who heaves it back to Warrener, and he just lobs it up to try and get a bit of snow of it. And the stooped figure of Andrews heads the ball away, but only as far as one of many players who look like that for the Zebras lineup. That short blonde hairdo, and the
It's offside, surely.
yeah, surely there.
I'm enjoying
They
that.
do like that look. It's a big look for this Zebras lineup.
I like my niche refereeing calls. It was called offside from coming back from the fence. Wasn't even on the field of play to run back in and get that. Oh, it was fantastic, and there's a foul given in the middle of the park.
Yeah, a little bit of a wry smile there for Braden Mann as he just took a poor touch and gave the ball away. I'm not really sure what the foul was. Perhaps he just gave someone a little shove in the aftermath, a little bit frustrated, but
That's
we're actually going to see Grunwald lumping forward here rather than giving the delivery, so they'll have two pretty imposing targets from this deep dead ball. Really going the Savile route right here.
Yeah, some great Savileology on show here as we see the ball no doubt going to the back post. Actually, ended up
Cheeky.
being a little direct. I don't think that was intended, but
And he's just overhit that one,
This
fellas.
is incredibly cheeky if he's trying that, but
Very
I'll go with you boys and say
That's
that he didn't
offside.
mean to do it. Oh, he's
No,
just let it run.
Argent's
That is actually quite a good call from the linesman there, and I like to see it. So well done. We've got some quality referees as Gates is streaking into some space, but only as far as Raph Reynolds, who's getting back to his former form a bit more as this game goes on after two pretty poor balls, one of which gave away the first goal of the match.
I'd love to go through a season with only having a poor 20 minutes.
He's pretty much achieved that so far, Raph Reynolds. He's been utterly imperious. That's a
that's
delightful
offside.
ball over the top,
That's
and
an
it might be in
imperious
the
ball.
eye. That's a heavy touch, though, from Bidwell, and then he's just got in the back of Warren. A play on the call. Allowed to go on there as Bidwell. He centres it. Larger brought down by Lewis. No
I really thought Argent was
doing.
brought down.
Well,
I
I'd
think
love to see that
I think
again.
he's a little bit stiff on that one there because it wasn't the best ball played into him for Bidwell, but he did a really good job of attempting to shield that ball. Just a little coming together there, and Bidwell showing a bit more strength. But as we'll see here, Argent just trying to hold the ball, and I think
Brought down the ball well away.
the referee is going to have a better view of that than we did from up there with Imran Lewis just kind of blocking off our view of that one. So we'll go with the referee there. But
I'm going to come to Imran.
Argent made it look good. Argent made it look good, that's for sure.
I think he just stumbled a bit in the end, so probably the right call is reloading with a punt down the middle. Hugheslett's shirt nearly ripped off, but again, play allowed to continue. Walsh showed great strength there, and now he turns and fires from distance, but comfortable enough for Zykos.
He's looked a threat today, Dwayne Walsh, hasn't he? Been busy out on this right-hand side.
Yeah, certainly looking to make an impact after a few weeks out through injury. Andrews finds it out wide. Man has got a bit freer roll as we see him now on the left wing. And Warren up.
Really like a bit of...
bumps that into the creek.
It's almost like a more... Andrews is a bit more like a deep-lying kind of Rogic made of balsa wood. Very,
What?
very good player.
What? That is the most bizarre assessment of a player I reckon I have
Bizarre
ever heard.
assessment. I'd say it's creative cooling.
I'll be honest, I was with you on the Rogic. And
Hold
then
him
you
with a chance
completely
in
lost
live
me.
action as he kills it. Mercury's fumbled this one. It's just past the post.
Oh,
he
dear.
gets away with it. Holden drove
And
it.
just as we're getting into ludicrous commentary territory, that is a ludicrous shot from distance and a ludicrous attempted save there from Mercury because he's just nearly spilled it and let it in, and what really should be quite a simple save.
Oh, he's lucky that didn't
He's a
spin back in
lucky
behind him.
boy.
Let off the hook. That could have been a disaster for Marcelo Mercury. He gets away with it though, and Raph Reynolds steps up and curls it to the back post. Gronwald up and wins away from all comers. Bidwell will put this one back in though. That he does. Argent flicks on. Hugheslet away, and Walsh. Well, he just get it away from Reynolds in the end, who was lunging after it, and the Dwayne Pipe clears the area with a long ball.
Such an intelligent clearing header from Hoog, wasn't it? Put it right into the right spot because there were Devonport players who were really threatening if he'd have just headed that 90 degrees to the side there, and it would have been trouble. Another bit of a handball, close to a handball. He's bloody near caught it there, Paul. So Kadisha gets away with one there, but he's actually played a pretty decent game when he's been under quite a bit of pressure here, particularly since Harrison Wicks has switched on to that side, and Eddie Bidwell certainly copped a whack there from Warrener.
I'm not sure he was ever likely to get the ball there, Bidwell, but certainly did cop a whack. And another... And the ball's already gone well past.
Yeah, right through him there. Took out both legs there, Warrener.
Yeah.
He surprisingly seemed to ask the question of the referee, what's all that about?
My favourite
Well,
thing
mate,
to do as a
you've
defender.
nearly made him an amputee.
As we see Reynolds towards the back post and eventually cleared. Trying to play the 1-2 inside, eventually gets there and Griffin just thumps it clear. Plenty of time for Devonport to reload. As all to do that down the far side. Now Reynolds. Switch and play again in the direction of Kadisha. Gets it clear, Walsh touches it back and Wicks sliding in. Manages to win the throw in. And I will not provide a translation on what Dwayne Walsh just said down there.
Yeah, fair to say he was not best pleased.
The referee was in a better spot to view that one than that linesman on the near side, to be fair to him, so I don't mind seeing that one overruled, but we'll have another look at it. Yeah, ludicrous. It's a clear ball to the Zebras there, and they have every right to be furious about it.
That one spins into the path of Griffin, and he goes to the ugly up and under and thumps it long. Reynolds got plenty of time and space to just settle this one down and stroke it into the middle for Dance, who's surrounded by Zebra's shirts, so he chips it forward. Kadisha well away, deputising for Jaden Hay at right back today, and he started pretty well, Teddy Kadisha. Hughesloop takes it and threading it through for the Dwayne Pipe with a perfectly weighted pass, but the Dwayne Pipe had just straight offside.
I thought that from this angle, even though we're not in the best position there, but the linesman was in position to put that flag up as soon as Dwayne Walsh touched it.
Tell tell you what, it's disappointing we've never had a Spider nicknamed defender come up against the Dwayne Pipe. There's considerable potential there, boys.
Well, Zilko Kalic did grace the game at some point down here.
It's true.
Oh, if only we had Zelko playing today. The big chin wouldn't let a single thing into the goal.
He has played in this state before. We'll have to get him back down purely so that reference can be made by you. We'll,
He did concede a goal in that match, I think, from memory.
I think he did. And there we go. The stats man telling us within 40 seconds he conceded. So the greatest start from the Big Spider. But he'll offer you a great chin. Some great
I will
punditry.
offer you a great chin, the best chin in the land, in fact.
As Reynolds switches the play up from Chester down and then looking to get in behind Warrener. He's Bidwell, but Gronwald across.
He won't
to see it out of
defend
play.
long-range Croatian shots very well, though.
Yeah, not the best of Australia's World Cup goalkeeping performances.
Did lead to that wonderful Harry Kewell moment, though. So
Where he was offside.
Oh, yeah.
Look, 3 yellow cards given to one player in the game, so let's not go down that path.
Offside's a matter of perspective.
True. And if your perspective is giving out 3 yellow cards in the one game,
I'd say there was a bit of a deviation in the space-time continuum that made him onside.
yeah, one from which the infamous Graham Bowles never recovered from. As you see Devonport trying to build out from the back to 2017, and nice turn from Holden. He's got Arjun up ahead.
Take
Run
him on.
at Grunwald, does that perfectly. Oh, and Mercury
well
stands
done.
tall.
Because he'd utterly stood up Grunwald there, Turtle Holden, and really needed his keeper to come to his rescue there, and Mercury duly obliged.
Tell you what, we've probably got the 2 best defenders in the comp this year playing each other, and they've both had moments where you've gone, that is unlike them. I've
What are
not
you
seen
doing?
anyone race past Gronwald like that all year.
Yep, no. I'm changing my calls. It's Ludford and Dogger Brown in the team of the year, boys.
As Dwayne Walsh picks this one up. And Sanders lays it back to Pace, who sends it wide.
I can't have Luddy in ahead of Oscar Thomas after the weekend. Boy, I was upset that I was away for that one, boys.
Yeah, you finally missed the South Hobart game, and look what your boys do.
One of the moments of the season, that. Oscar Thomas from
And it was
downtown.
deliberate.
That was the best clearance I've
He had
ever
goals
seen.
in his eyes.
Of course it was.
Yeah, he was deliberately trying to clear the area, I reckon, as Dance
He saw the keeper off
goes
his line.
inside, threads it through for Argent, but a lunging Lewis got in and broke that up quite well in the end. It was a challenge he had to make. Argent had made an intelligent run. Gronwald forward, broken up by Bidwell. Now, Turtle Holden, who has really come into this game. He's prominent fancy back. He'll place in Holden. He strokes it straight at the
He
keeper.
just telegraphed where he was going to put that shot, didn't he? You could see by the way that he was just opening up that right shoulder that there was only one space that was going to go, and that was to the keeper's left. And Mercury coming into a little bit of form here after nearly giving away a pretty soft goal.
He's starting to cause some problems at the back, though, at Turtle Holden.
Isn't
He's
he?
opening this contest up.
Where does the name Turtle come from? Is it a supposedly ironic reference to how quick the bloke is, or?
I think so.
Yeah.
That would be my rate on it, but not too sure. It was well established before I got here, as this one's chipped in over the back towards Kadisha. Thumps it away. I'm sure Devonport viewers will correct us if that isn't the case, as Dance dwells
Well,
on
he
the
certainly
ball.
doesn't have a large shell on his back.
Definitely not, as Wixie swings this one in towards Argent. Again, Lewis has to make a crucial challenge, put it behind for another corner, and the strikers really turning the screws before half
A
time.
little bit of Jackie Chan about that clearance there. Good stuff. Just getting in very quickly at that near post to block it away there, Sir Viv.
So Raf Reynolds on the corner duties here. Swings it to the back post. Headed by Dom Smith. Trying to track it down as Bidwell, but he won't get there in time.
Game just slowing down a tad here as we tick towards half time. Can't imagine too much stoppage time being played later on. We'll see Warren up eventually get around to taking the throw in. Didn't get too much distance on it though. Now Bidwell is pushed back by the Colonel, who's knocked it off the corner flag.
Oh, that's...
I think he's I'm not sure if he's realised which corner flag he should be doing that at.
It's 1-1.
But it is eventually wins a
It's
goal
not
kick.
1-0 in the 92nd minute.
Yeah.
Get on with it.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the time-wasting tactics in the 43rd minute.
Get on with it.
Get on with it. And I'd say that is a goal kick, but it's very, very close goal.
Just
Maybe he's got something to do at half-time.
bent the corner flag over there. It looks like it's copped a punching after a Tim Cahill goal. Just a little bit of lean in it now.
Surely a foul, yeah.
Yeah, surely a foul just there from Hoogie. I'll look to get it going quickly again here and try and manufacture a few more chances as we get to the end of the first half here. And a really good ball out wide there from Braden Mann. Put the pressure on Eddie Bidwell, but it's been a really good battle between Warriner and Bidwell on that side, hasn't it, boys?
Yes.
Almost wish they were closer to us, and I'll enjoy getting a closer look at them in the next half.
Yeah, I think that's certainly something to look forward to in the second half. Both haven't really had too much separation from each other. Bidwell certainly pushing on from his right wing-back position.
Yeah, certainly Bidwell and the strikers, particularly in the last 25 minutes, have probably had the benefit of the position on the ground, but
He's certainly playing more of a Danny Alves type
yeah, definitely.
wing-back where he's
But
permanently
Warren has
in his own half.
been very strong defensively. So
Yeah, it certainly hasn't let much in.
just see Turtle Holden getting over the top of this ball, looking to curl it in with that left boot. In it comes, bit of movement in the box, goes near Raph Reynolds, but just got underneath that a little bit and spooned it over the top of the goals rather than heaping the pressure on McCurry there. Got himself into a good spot, Raph Reynolds, but
Sort of had to do it from a standing start because it's a great leap.
he was perhaps just a little
early.
bit under it, a little bit early. But really good delivery there from Turtle Holden. You'd hope that you can at least work the keeper there. Unmarked header.
So there's Grunwald has a raking ball out to Gates. Now Hugh Sloot out to the Colonel. He's lost a little bit of his spice in the first half. Not quite on the ball as much.
Well, the game's really changed in the last 20 minutes, hasn't it? It was Zebras dominating the opening moments. They took the lead, should have taken the lead a lot earlier with one of the misses of the season, but they got the goal eventually. And really, ever since that goal, it's been Devonport really dominating possession, territorially been on top, and they've had all the running, all the chances, and Turtle Holden in particular is making plenty of things happen, but tough time as they head into the sheds. 1-1 at the score here at KG5. The Devonport Strikers will be glad to get back on terms.
It is well poised for a second half here, boys, and the Devonport Strikers certainly have a lot at stake, and you'll be expecting them to try and come out and continue what has been dominance over the last 25 minutes, but Zebras have shown that they're an outfit that can get on the scoreboard and threaten to. Pretty big second half coming up here.
Yeah, tight tussle. Still quite unsure which way this is going to go, much like a few other Saturday afternoon sporting events today. A tight tussle expected, and we'll see how it ends up in the second half.
And the superior team just seeming to get on top in those contests as they've developed. So we'll see how that pans out in the second half here.
Yep.
We'll be back shortly.
Yeah, that was awful. That was great.
That's second only to more than the year before. Yes.
Oh, dear. I've gone, grabbed my $4 and we're having a dimmy at lunch, and they're gone. I need a wallet and a common purse. Entertaining enough day. Sorry? I'm done. You finished? He's done. I'm done. Oh yeah? I'm finished. I passed.
Lovely work. Probably maybe go back and do 1 year.
Cool. You should just do a summer school year.
Well, I wanted to, but there was no first year on available. And so I had to go back to a first year after.
battering challenge there from Rafa.
Cargo Kid can do from this free kick.
Got a talented boot, Hoogie at the far post, but it doesn't get over the wall this time.
Yeah, just trying to give Andrews can
That's incredible.
You see the cross taken low, should be cleared effectively. Turtle Holden scuffs it, and Hugh Sloot gets a foot to it. That should be a corner. Back out to the Colonel. Pops it back in. Grunwald gets the head to it. Hugh Sloot in position and shot wide. And Gibbon is
in there, just tried to lay the kick a little. Very Riley and in around Lewis. Cool as the other side of the pillow to get around man. Sends it wide.
What I found
yourself out of danger.
What I found interesting after that is Grunwald proceeded to give him an earful after that nice turn. So I'm not sure what's up there. And that's
fantastic defending there.
Now Hugh Sloot. He's there's a bit of kicking and pushing there between
I want to see
Dance and Hugh
Hughes
Sloot.
get over this ball, to be honest.
I'd like to see one.
Colonel might fancy this, but he steps over and allows the Chicago Kid to again pick out the head of the wall. So he's given 2 concussions early on in this one. He might get a chance with the laces here. Now he might swing this one to the back post. It's a lovely ball there for young Knott, but beaten away there by Teddy Kadesha. Did it very nicely, looking inside. Holden making a run through the middle. Together Griffin and Pace see it away from him, and no foul blown there. So
I think that was
Kadesha and Griffin both look at each other, and one of Devonport's fan favourites gets a fantastic challenge served against him from Kadesha.
Twice he's shut down Argent there, and one-on-one duels as Turtle Holden tries to get around Griffin, but a good challenge from Callan Griffin. Pumped it up to him. A retreat back to Zykos under pressure from Walsh. That was a little dicey, but he just got away with it.
He certainly read it, didn't he, the
Your defence and keeper. That's what he brings to the table. Here now, he's not crossing dangerously across the face. And put behind rather wisely in the end by Braden Mann, who curls one in dangerously. Some mix up there from Warren up. A chance perhaps for Holden. But it doesn't sit for them, and Mercury again come across.
Raf Reynolds just wants to play it up the middle and plays Andrews into a bit of trouble, but he's given a bit of a whack on the way through there and earns the free.
Here now, boys, as Walsh will charge down the right, and Reynolds is across to deal with that. He centres it rather dicely to the Colonel, who's stuck it home. The keeper gets a piece of it, not enough to keep it out. Matty Sanders has the Zebras.
As that's a nice through ball. Argent nearly in. Imran Lewis just pushing him out of the way. Braden Mann ropeable at that shielding work.
Plays it to Sanders, clever little flick on back to his centre back who's worked forward, and that's a lovely ball, just ever so slightly overhit for Walsh.
He was alert to it though, Zykos, so well done.
To play the killer first time ball. But an error from Lewis has almost allowed Argent in. He recovered it, and he'll whisk it away in the end, but it was very tough.
Especially they're certainly wanting to recycle.
They're in trouble here.
Sanders has a missed touch, and Reynolds eventually clears that. It's like getting that 3rd and 4th pass together as well. Make that thought. Turtle Holden's got 2 forward. Nice
Braden Mann, and he's finished it.
Braden Mann with a lovely run.
Just as you say that they're not attacking with any kind of pace, they go and do it
into this game after a slow start. They've started to turn the screws a little, and Holden surely fouled here. Griffin all over.
He likes the look of this, Braden.
Just take advantage.
Up,
steps up
very close to his left here as he goes afar.
Good save in the end.
And that was just what I was thinking that Braden Mann might try there, because
pipe. Sanders pressuring Reynolds. Good physical battle. Colonel
a little bit
out
colder
on that
in
one.
the northern suburbs than it is in the Caribbean, that's for sure.
Yeah, just a little bit on show here as we see ball no doubt going to the back post actually. Ended up being a little direct. I think that was intended, but
utterly infurious. That's a delightful ball over the top, and they might be in behind. That's a heavy touch though from Bidwell, and then he's just put in the back of Warren. A play on the call, allowed to go on there is Bidwell. He centres it. Argent brought down by Lewis. No,
I really thought Argent.
Again, play allowed to continue. Walsh showed great strength there, and now he turns and fires from distance, but comfortable enough for Zykos.
I'd say it's creative calling.
I'll be honest, I was with you on the Rogic.
Holden with a chance in live action as he curls it. Mercury's fumbled this one, and it's just past the post. He gets away with it. Holden drove it.
Just as particularly since Harrison Wicks has switched on to that side, and Eddie Bidwell certainly copped a whack there from Warrener.
I'm not sure he was ever likely.
Takes it and threading it through for the Dwayne Pipe with a perfectly weighted pass, but the Dwayne Pipe had just straight offside.
I thought that from this angle, even though we're in, and nice turn from Holden. Got Argent up ahead,
Take him
Run
on.
at Grunwald, does that perfectly. Oh, and Mercury
well
stands
done.
tall.
Because he'd utterly stood up.
Now, Turtle Holden, who has really come into this game, he's prominent fancy back heel plays in Holden, he strokes it straight at the
He
keeper.
just telegraphed shell on his back.
Definitely not, as Wixie swings this one in towards Argent. Again, Lewis has to make a crucial challenge, put it behind for another corner, and the strikers.
I wonder if he's realised he's at
Yeah.
which corner flag he should be doing that at.
It's 1-1.
But it is eventually wins
It's
a
not
goal kick.
1-0 in the 90s. In it comes, bit of movement in the box. Goes near Raph Reynolds, but just got underneath that a little bit and spooned it over the top of the goal.
1-1 the score. Who's going to take the 3 points today? A massive second half coming up. Zebras looking to get their season back on track and build some form for the end of season. Devonport fighting for their life in the title race. They need to win this game or it will be lights out, you'd have to imagine. And Turtle Holden really came into this game in the second half, and that is a brilliant ball through to Braden Mann. He's up against Lewis. Tried to sneak around him, but Lewis has been pretty solid. And he won that duel and plays it back to his keeper.
He was trying to nutmeg that one, I think, Braden Mann. But very quick start in the second half. As soon as Devonport walked out, it was game time. So they used all 15 minutes in the sheds, and it's a nice ball. Down to Gates, cuts inside, heavy touch, still keeps it one-on-one with the keeper, but just rolls into the path of Zykos.
Yeah, really, really good defending there from Dance too, who was just getting on that far side of him, make sure that he couldn't tuck it into the near post, rather the far post, and Mercury was equal to the other effort. But doesn't this man look busy in this second half very early on in this first minute?
He's looked very busy in the literally 70 seconds
60
we've been
seconds
playing.
of pure busyness, boys. That's what's been going on. And he plays it out wide here to Bidwell, and they've got a few numbers forward.
That's a
which
great ball. Oh.
Almost found Turtle Holden there, but Lukey Hughesloot was just alert to it and managed to force it out of play, really.
Yeah, you were saying in the first half, looking forward to the Bidwell v Gates battle down on the near side. We've already seen that in the first minute, so we'll certainly keep an eye on that as Teddy Kadisha unfortunately has to retrieve his own ball. Just a bit of delay in play. Throws it in to Hughesloot with a very elaborate chest. Clearly doesn't rate using the thigh. And Dwayne Walsh manages to get it off Smith. Plays it inside back to the Colonel, who lets it run past, and Reynolds looks forward to Argent. Still trying to get him to play that target man role. Ends up well. Now playing out wide, Bidwell on the overlap. Has Warren at a beat. Tries to go the touch and go, but I think Warren is experienced enough to deal with that. And very interesting appeal there from Bidwell. Not entirely sure what that was about.
Might just be getting a bit excited about Paddy Dangerfield potentially kicking his 6th goal of the game, Funty. As he lines up and just slots through a 6th.
Yeah.
Now Gronwald thumps this one down the middle towards Hughesloot. Flicks on well. Sanders looking to nod into the path of Gates. Away by Dance. And Holden in the middle. Kadisha surrounded by the banana slugs there and draws the foul.
Yeah. A fair call there, just relieves the pressure. There's another look at this again, just in the back, and then I'm not really sure what Sanders is appealing for there. He just seemed to launch himself and not touch the ball. As we set that forward, Turtle Holden again. Creative, I think he's punched that one forward, not necessarily intentional, but you can't really get away with that.
Yeah, Griffin had gotten himself into a good spot there. Really need to make those sorts of challenges, particularly when you have someone who has as deft a touch as Turtle Holden. But they've certainly looked the more threatening early on here, the Devonport Strikers, haven't they, Funty?
Yeah, it certainly have, and it's nice control from Warren, and not necessarily the best pass, but Sanders get to that now. Hughesloot. Don't know if it's too early to tell, but it does appear Sanders and Hughesloot have swapped positions. Seeing Sanders in a more advanced role so far. As we'll see where Warren goes with his throw in. Very short. It's one thing they're missing today with Jaden Hay out, the Zebras. Just that long throw. Usually in this position it would be a very, very good option. Tries to find Walsh, but eventually out for a Zebras throw again. Almost just running, getting the ball further down this sideline. Warren is now going to go for a long throw off a standing start. Hits Hughesloot's head. And now Grunwald launches that one straight into the wet area. As Zykos takes the goal kick. Just a slow build up here from Devonport, just keeping the ball. Now Holden, dispossessed very quickly. Now Gates, who has a shot himself, deflects off Reynolds and nearly falls into the path of the Colonel, who was onto that one like Jake Morgan to a
That was-
potato and gravy.
Yeah, that was more of an errance than a clearance there for a second, wasn't it, from Ralph Reynolds? But he certainly got himself into a good spot, but they'll be looking to certainly take the lead, given how good they are at set pieces here, as we see big Lukey Hoog making his move, spooned over the top to him, and they've got Griffin hanging at the back post, but oh, absolute pandemonium in the box, and oh my God, what a clearance off the line there from Lukey Hoogsloot.
Well, Dance denying him on the very last line of defence, although I think a foul had been blown anyway. But, yeah, something's been blown here, but Dance made what looked a crucial stop at the time. The keeper's been given the free kick.
Oh, that's not protected species, is it?
He saved a goal there, Dance, but
That's
off and out.
the goalkeeper being treated like the spotted handfish right there.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, it was just more Zykos decided to make an attempt and went kind of in some strange position like a spider trying to crawl up a wall. I mean, that's not a foul. Anyway, there's that rant for the day about our protected
species.
We are known for them here in Tasmania, so it's probably not a surprise. It's potentially not quite given offside on Dwayne Walsh. Just trying to look after our pristine nature down here, and that even extends to goalkeepers. As Teddy takes the throw in. Gets it to Hughes-Lute. Back to Sir Vivian, who finds the feet of Sanders. He certainly does prefer it at his feet rather than at the head, so it's a good pass, and then he's unfortunately set Warrener a bit of a task. Yep. Going to go back to Sanders. Got a run through here from Kadisha, but couldn't quite get in. Now the Colonel 30 yards out.
Oh, it's swerving.
Yeah, had a bit of curve and a good attempt on goal. We've just seen the keepers struggling a bit when the ball bounces right in front of them, and Zykos eventually got there. Took him 2 goes.
Yeah, the artificial pitch looking a bit worn out. They might take some bobbles here and
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Hey?
Oh, it's a crunching position there. Yeah, not much chance of any turf skipping up here at KJB.
You don't need to worry. I'm sure the goalkeepers would have a kick at it and blame it if they conceded a soft one.
Yep. I can imagine there are calls to relay the KJV pitch, but look, it's certainly still flat as a pancake at the moment.
Yeah. Calls? Who would make such a call?
That's where on news the other week.
Oh, right.
Apparently it's needed these artificial pit lines forever.
Yeah, it'll see what a couple of years in it. There are a few problems with it, but got fixed up early in the year by the council. Teams were causing issues, but seems to be under control now as the Zebras looking to burst forward here through the Dwayne Pipe centering ball for the Colonel. Heavy touch might let the keeper and gets around him, goes down, and Copra points to the spot. Penalty, Zebras. Zykos bringing down the Colonel.
And there are some furious Devonport players out there. Raph Reynolds' reaction in particular was to heap a big slag at the floor because he really doesn't think that there's any penalty here, but I think he just gets a touch to it, the keeper.
I think the trailing legs caught Sanders there too. So
thought he just got a touch to it. Really tough one, that one.
Yeah.
But there was no one better placed than our referee, Copra.
Sharp, Ash, very sharp.
I think he has.
He has
got a hand to it.
But then he's also got he's got the trailing leg of Sanders as well.
Ends up slotting it, does Matthew Sanders from the controversial penalty kick, so that puts Zebras 2-1 in front. Not too much of a celebration there. No, there's a fair bit of time left.
And a slice of cheese there for that challenge too.
It's actually surely for chirping, I reckon.
True. Not quite sure at the moment.
Not quite sure at the moment.
May have been Raph Reynolds. No, actually he would be off, wouldn't he? So it can't possibly have been him. A little bit of fire coming down from the Zebs bench. They know that they can get a good win here today and potentially end the title challenge from the Devonport Strikers. So that is quite a huge goal here today from Colonel Sanders. And they're looking to get back into it straight away here, the Devonport Strikers. As Braden Mann gets onto the ball at the top of the box and he looks out wide to Harrison Wicks. He's got a couple in the box, looks for Argent, but quite a horrible final ball there, and will do nothing other than go over to Mercury for the goal kick.
Yeah, so Devonport not too happy about that, but they've got to bounce back quickly. Their season is certainly more on the line than the Zebras are, so we'll need to come back here again. Goal kick taken to Grunwald, who thumps it long in the gates direction. There's Bidwell and Dance for company. Andrews gets a long leg to it, but can't quite keep it in. And appears to be Warner with the throw. Alright, as you see Turtle Holden try to play it through to man, but Callan Griffin read that one like a book, and there's 2 players after it. The talk needs to be hit. Sanders has hit that in. Dwayne Walsh manages to get inside.
What a challenge.
Clearing challenge.
What a challenge there,
Reynolds.
Raf.
He's certainly had his 20 minutes of the season where he can't be on top form, but he's back in form. As Bidwell brings it back to Dance, who unfortunately hits that a fair bit behind his wing-back counterpart. Back to Dom Smith. He'll launch it forward. I think he's onside. Yeah, eventually
he's got Turtle Holden in the middle.
Flag. Eventually give it.
Very, very late flag there. Almost one of those new FIFA-style ones where they let you score the goal against your mate and you give him the serve and then they bring it back on you. Real cruel stuff there from the linesman when Devonport hearts were in mouths.
Yeah, they looked on, but not to be. As see that one for Matty Sanders, the 14th goal of the season.
No
for
break
the
here
Colonel.
today.
And scored the bulk of them earlier in the year, but back at his best goal-scoring touch today. And the Zebras seemingly getting back on track. Devonport now with a game to chase. And if they were to drop any more points this week, it would get very difficult indeed for them to be challenging South for the title. They've got about 35 minutes to try and turn things around here. Here's Argent looking to do just that. Works it centrally to Holden, who's looked the most lively option in attack. A switching ball from Dance. Man lets it run for Wicks. And he played the return ball to Wicks, who'd been filled by Kadesha.
Slice of cheese for Kadesha, yep.
Has to be a slice of cheese for Teddy Kadesha.
Yep, the big teddy bear there. Really not living up to his name.
Wasn't particularly cuddly there.
No.
He's just brought him down, said, I'm not letting you in behind, you're past me.
Bit more like a drop bear there. Pretty savage challenge, really. But he's earned that cheese, and it's in a pretty dangerous spot for the strikers to try and get back into this one, though. The Zebras certainly have the height at the set piece. So we'll see. Braden Mann getting over the top of the ball. They've got Dance and Andrews in the middle in particular. Just headed away there from, well, I thought it was
Yeah, I thought
Grunwald.
it was too. I thought that was Grunwald with a clearing header, but we'll have another look on the replay. We'll see how we go. Whipped into the far post. Yeah.
It's off Grunwald. So clearly need to get Nathan Code flowing up and down that line.
Wouldn't have missed that. Look, I think you're hoping he's on tomorrow up at South Hobart.
I do hope so.
Prepare to be disappointed as Nick Grunwald.
Oh, no.
Switch on lines to Kadesha.
He's not away, is he?
I know he's not on the line for that one. Kadesha charges forward. Down the right, he's surging. Still carrying the ball. Still going Kadesha. All the way now to the byline. And he ran too far in the end and it spills behind. So just needed to release it earlier.
That last little bit of pressure on the body from Dom Smith there knocked him off his balance and wouldn't let him connect really very well with that final ball there, Teddy Kadesha. But it was a nice little mazy run there for a second. So you see Luca Argent try to... Jeez, it's impossible to not say Luca Argent, I'll tell you what. I'm getting into Fozzie territory here.
And that's surely a foul, but not given.
The young Croatian import, Luca Argent.
Not sure how that would go with the visa rules, but we'll see how it goes. Pace gets beaten out to it by Braden Mann. I mean, we do need some more Croatian imports in this league. We've already talked about one we want. Why not have a second? And Braden Mann eventually uses his teammate as a shield, but Griffin goes back and boxes him out well. Now McCurry looks in the direction of Walsh. Actually, very good kick from the keeper. And Dom Smith does well. Touch inside to Andrews. Return ball. It's 4 up here for Devonport, so if they can get some space, Wicks.
Or 5 even, because it looks like Eddie Bidwell's trying to join in the fun on this far side, and they could get it to him because just starting to open up more for the strikers now. And he gets the ball through to Turtle Holden, but probably the wrong option or just a little bit overhit there. Just a little bit of a coming together I like to see. And
random unnecessary ranting there from Mercury.
Mercury just given the gesticulations, a bit of the Italian palm there. Like to see it. He didn't like the extra attention there from Turtle Holden.
Oh, it's a handball there from Holden. I don't think it's intentional, but he clearly didn't appreciate it.
He's on the ground facing the complete other direction. His elbows hit it, and then Mercury decides to throw the ball at him.
You've got to stand up for yourself when you're a keeper. It's not like you're protected it.
Well, I think Marcelo Mercury will probably argue, given last week against Kingbury, he's not on that protected species list, and maybe he wants to be on it, as this one's worked forward in the Argent direction. Bidwell and him allowed to run out of play in the end with a lack of communication between those two. Warner heaves it down the line to the Colonel.
Lack of communication, is that the next cup?
Oh, Jesus. The door's that way, son. Here's Andrews. Looks in the middle. Grab your coat. Here's Braden Mann. Chips it down the line looking for Bidwell. Away goes Warner. Hugh Sloot and Andrews. A couple of rangy customers there. Dance. Raph Reynolds. He'll switch the play up. Across to Wicks. Knocks around at defenders Wicks, but he's just chipped this one straight into Kadisha, who's had his number in that matchup today.
They're onside.
In the ball. Well, the Colonel's judged this one to perfection. He brings it down now, slides it through for a surging Dwayne Walsh. The Dwayne pipe cuts it back where Dance had his positioning spot on, shuts it down. Danger not entirely over, but now
had everything covered there, Dance.
Oh, that could be a cheese for pace. And it is, and totally appreciated.
And Hughesley actually bombed the ball into Eddie Bidwell afterwards as well. But
that's exactly right. A few other people trying to get their dose of dairy here today. And Copra just allowing them to do so.
Yeah.
So definitely a cheese there. That's a pretty ugly challenge there from Pace.
And then if we just keep that going, Hughesley.
Yep, Hughesley just Hughesley after that little image, then Hughesley just powers it into Eddie Bidwell, which probably is worth a cheese in itself for booting the ball away.
Maybe just trying to add to that concussion stat that Zebra seems so keen on him employing to Devonport players. Braden Mann's in an acre of space in Mays. Think he stayed onside. Good decision there from the assistant.
Yep, and the Zebras fan on the far side there just giving the offside flag, and the linesman not quite going with that decision there, so fair enough that they've backed themselves in rather than the fan of the team playing.
Sergio Pace, I think that was, just trotting down there. Finished off with his coaching duties last week, and he's just playing linesman now.
Yeah.
Getting involved.
Wouldn't be biased at all.
No,
the great Sergio.
It's not like that linesman after the 2006 Champions League final who was seen celebrating in a Barcelona shirt days later.
Oh, you sound like an Arsenal fan there, Jake. This one's worked from Andrews.
He'd be more reliable than him, that's for sure.
Back to Smith, back to Zykos.
2006 really wasn't a good year for referees, was it?
No. Appalling year.
Here's Dance,
Nathan
splitting
Code
ball.
was twinkle in his parents' eyes.
So the throw-in will be taken down the line. It's a powerful heave, but Gronwald should be back to steer it away from Argent. Back to Marcelo Mercury. Ships it over a couple of heads. Sanders presenting, couldn't quite get there, and Raph Reynolds will just control things on the opposite end of the park, and he in turn goes to his keeper. Oh, didn't him no favours there. Dom Smith had to be good to see it away from Walsh, who was closing. Warner up strongly. Just,
one of the better unintentional touches I've ever seen from Dance there on the ground and managed to backheel it to his own centre back, and that's a crunching challenge.
On the ball though.
Play on, given.
So
we see
no complaints from Holden either too, which was good to see.
Yeah, you can see, imagine a few people writhing around, but heard the challenge well. Andrews just keeping it a little long. Back to Zykos, who's got Sanders for company. Tries to fire his win back, but he's actually under-hit that one, so good pressure there from the Colonel. Like a chicken ready to come out of the oven.
Have another look at this Hughes Loot challenge from behind on Holden. Just comes in, wins the ball well. Somehow those legs just get around and whip it away.
He's He's got to be part very coordinated giraffe, that man.
Well, there's definitely part giraffe, I think, Lukey Hugh. A great challenge there as the strikers from midfield. They need 2 goals here. I know 2 ways about it. A draw doesn't really help them here today. They need the 3 points. And trailing in this game, they're going to need to start throwing bodies forward. Here they come, looking to build something now. Back to Henry Andrews. Nothing catching his eye, so he drops it short to Braden Mann. He'll look to drive the play. The striker's captain. That's a clever little ball playing in Andrews. Well defended by the Chicago kid. Snuffing that one out.
Yeah, snuffed him out like a rat there, the Chicago kid.
Walsh to the Colonel. Gates was offside, so he couldn't play the ball to him. Had to go back instead. Now Hugh Sloot, Gronwald and Warrener. Well, Gates played the return ball, and Warrener has eventually been given a free kick. Really took his time deciding that one there, Cobra.
I thought that was fairly blatant, but yeah.
You can just see bemusement on the face of Braden Mann down there, who really didn't think that was any sort of challenge, but I've just missed the replay, so I'm not going to comment.
Nah, foul. And Grunwald ready to take this one, deciding not to go up. There's enough tall timber there already. Here's Hugh Sloot. Walsh and Sanders looking to pick up some scraps as well. Grunwald whips it in, it goes near post, but right down the throat of Zykos, who had Sanders nearly
Taking
in
a
front
chest
of him.
mark. Taking a chest mark there. I don't know about that one there from Zykos. He really should be taking that one strong in their hands out in front, just like Patrick Dangerfield has all day.
As we see a through ball there, Turtle Holden McCurry comes out and just gets there.
Staggered you didn't go with Joey Danaher. They're taking it its highest
That's
point.
surely a foul. Again, Kadisha on a card.
Yeah,
And Braden Mann being told to zip it in no uncertain terms.
I think Braden Mann might have just been making that point that he's on a booking. Here's Teddy Kadesha. He's getting a stern talking to and probably a final warning from Brenton Copper here.
Might be seriously considering
if you look at
subbing
me,
him.
that is the referee saying, if you look at me the wrong way, you can go and have a bath.
Yep, any more infringements, and I think that'll be the end of Kadesha's day, and I agree, Funty. Might be time to be prepping a sub there as Reynolds steps up. Curling ball to the middle of the box, repelled by the Colonel, doing some defensive work now. Dwayne Walsh bursting forward. He's had a real impact on his return to the team, Dwayne Walsh. Just gives him an extra dimension in attack. Holden, Andrews looks to thread it, but the run hadn't been made by Braden Mann. Wasn't anticipating that one. Behind it goes for a goal kick.
Yeah, just not too many chances really in the last 15 minutes, you have to say. Really, since that Zebra's goal that's taken the lead, they've really taken the sting out of this Devonport side, who are fighting hard but not quite getting back into the game really.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at the Zebra's subs. Got Ackley, Biggin, Reed and Duggar.
John Booger.
Booger, yep, thank you. The team sheet certainly doesn't look anything like that.
Is that English?
Not really sure. Looks a bit more Swahili to me, but
I think John Booger's about to be introduced.
well, it's a
In the
good call.
sidelines. As Turtle Holden picks it up in the middle, skips around pace, driving at them. Can't find Argent though, and away
What was
goes
that last
Gronwald.
name again?
Booger.
John Booger. Could be Booger, but we're going with Booger. Oh, bit childish perhaps, but until we're corrected. Swung to the back post. Well, we'll try and track this down, but even he can't get on the end of that one.
Yeah, right. Looks like John Dooku on these.
Yeah,
on the,
exactly,
on the team
exactly.
sheet. That's my
The
confusion.
Count's son has made his debut apparently here today.
The Count. So he will replace that man, Teddy Kadisha, who was walking the tightrope. And that'll be the sub.
He's had a good game, Kadesha. You just, in that situation of nearly things enough, you got to be cautious and keep 11 on the field, especially when you're in front. So Booger will go two right wing. It'll be interesting if Griffin or Walsh ends up at right back. They're probably the two most likely. At the moment, it looks like Walsh.
Yeah, very familiar with that role. The Dwayne Pipe played a lot of football at fullback, so he can slot in there, and no real surprises as Man wins that header down to Argent. Works it across to Wicks, but seen away from him by pace.
Don't know how happy the Dwayne Pipe will be about it. About as happy as Jaden Hay is playing at right back, I reckon.
Yeah, I think he'd prefer to be up top as Holden swings in a teasing ball. It's seen away by Gronwalds. Hugh Sloot humps this one away. Good touch from Bidwell to set himself. Then plays it in to Andrews. Andrews with a centering ball for Dance. Dance spreads the play again to Bidwell. Bidwell's cross is blocked by Warrener.
Been some battle out there between the two of them, hasn't it? It's been brilliant.
Yeah, it's been fantastic to watch that duel. Dance to Andrews, just probing at the moment the strikers, but not finding any cracks in the armour at the moment. Argent just let it run, but didn't run onto anyone in particular, and the keeper can collect it.
And already the time wasting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that says Dooku.
Didn't think that was just me. Luckily, he's played some football before as John Burgess, so we know who he is. As Hugh Sloot wins that header, Sanders looks out wide to the new man who's got Tom Smith for company. He's also got pace, now got Walsh. It's the chest to Sanders, calls for a penalty, not given. Andrews will look to counter for Devonport.
It's about as physical as he can be without there being a penalty for me, though.
I've seen similar given on this ground for that.
Bit of a thump in the, gives him the strong boulder in the back there. The big shoulder.
That's, again, interesting maneuver there. Sanders certainly sticking up top at all times in this half, and you can see why, and he's nearly put Gates through, but he'd strayed just offside.
Certainly had, but nothing doing from the linesman there. I think it was just a step off, and it occurred perfectly for our angle to see that one, Funty. But, geez, the Devonport strikers really are struggling to manufacture something up front at this point in time. Really, they've had some possession in their forward half, but no real chances manufactured since they've scored that goal. There's a bit of a streaky challenge comes in there.
Now, I've noticed how deep the Zebras centre mids are now sitting. Hugh Sloot and Griffin rarely venturing forward past their halfway.
And I'm a big fan of that. I don't like to see gaps between my midfield and centre-back pairing.
Especially with a 2-1 lead.
Yep.
Just wonder if maybe the strikers be thinking of bringing Lindsay Millington on. A big physical presence up top just to change
Target
things.
man.
Just Argent, clever on the ball, but probably lacks the physicality. And Gronwald and Lewis dealing with him at the moment as Holden tried to skip around the Chicago kid, who's imperious as ever, and whipped that one away. Reynolds now pressured by the Colonel, who's just a little bit hungry for a hat-trick, I'd have thought. Just sniffing about for a chance.
Yeah, I might be having a hat-trick of wicked wings after this.
Yeah, he'll be helping himself to that if he can get the trifecta today.
Yeah, what KFC should employ you as a brand ambassador more because the amount of plugs you put in for him.
Lovely ball for Man. Oh, Griffin did just enough. Really well defended, Callan Griffin, and Walsh just smacks that one out. One in doubt, I guess. And a
Maybe
sub
they
in
already
the
have.
offing. James Ackley about to come on here by the looks of things. But Gates will play this one back to Gronwald. Looks to get around Argent, sticking to his task, the youngster. And they do well in the end of the strikers, so it looks like Ackley can now come on. And he's going to replace Jack Gates.
Yeah, good news for us in the commentary box because that'll be one less with that hairdo out there running around, so we'll be all the safer with our calls from now on, not getting him confused with Cal Griffin.
Of course, plenty of big games coming up here at KG5, including the FA Cup match on August the 1st. Olympia and Uppia Leichhardt. If you're after tickets for that one, Lipscomb Larder, Sandy Bay, Unique Floors, Newtown, or any of the Salamanca Fresh stores. Kingston, Davey Street, Salamanca, Lennon Valley, Belrive. Take your pick. We're out here at the FFT offices if you want to get tickets to that big game on Tuesday, August the 1st.
Oh, and it's going to be
and
the biggest game in the state, that one, because it'll be everybody united behind the Olympia Warriors, all the rivalries put to one side, and it will be a united Tasmania in front to support them, that's no doubt, because we want Tasmanian football to do well here at Slice of Cheese. So
Tell you what,
swallowing the lump in my throat and vocally supporting the Olympia Warriors on that day.
you've just created our new Ultras group name, United Tasmanian Front. Get the the UTF behind the goals for the game.
As long as it's not the Judean People's Front.
What about the People's Front of Judea?
Splitters.
So this one's worked in there. Should be crossed in by Warren Sanders with a glancing header that's wide of the post. Behind it goes.
And I already know of people already picked them up at Salamanca Fresh, so they're selling like hotcakes.
Oh, look, I even got a housemate that works at Salamanca Fresh, so happy to give that one a plug instead of the multinational KFC.
Yeah, especially on the far side there, we've got L&B Chicken, proud sponsors of Tilford Zebras. None of this multinational nonsense.
Yeah, we're getting into Triple M territory, boys. We better get out of this and get back to the game as Ralph Reynolds strides forward and plays a little ball to Mann, who jinks it out wide to Andrews as he stoops over the ball and gets his head up and plays a little 1-2 with Holden, and a beautiful ball in there for Braden Mann, but comfortably defended by Sir Vivian Imran Lewis, who has been just a superstar out there today, you have to say. He's dealt with everything that's come at him, almost even been better than Grunwald.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And that's a theatrical attempted a dive. I mean, there was contact, but he's also blasted the ball 20 yards right to the feet of Dom Smith. So whether he was getting it or not, John Berger, we can't really tell.
Tell you what, the chances have dried up in this half. Ever since the 2-1, there's been nothing really. It's been end-to-end, but neither team has looked like scoring since Sanders put his side ahead. And after the way this half started and the first half ended, it's been a bit of a letdown, I think, as this one's swung in the Hugh Sloot direction. Bit of a wrestle there, but flies over his head, and away goes Bidwell. Lewis controls this, and he sold the Dwayne pipe short and let in Braden Mann, who threads it through for Argent. It's just going to angle away from him though, spun away and allowed Warner in. Man, couldn't quite pick out the youngster. Yeah,
there was a lot of space there, and Warner was very quick to get back and cover there, because you certainly would not want to be letting in Argent at this stage of the game. Create all sorts of problems for your team. But Devonport, that little nutmeg there from Turtle Holden and the little ball to Argent. He's got nobody in the middle though, so he goes himself. But, geez, I want to have another look at the replay of that one there for a second, Ash, because have a look at this.
Nuts.
Oh, don't mind it if I do. Beautiful nuts there from Turtle Holden. Just a pity that Argent couldn't sort his feet out.
Yeah, nice bit of skill there from Turtle Holden.
I like that.
I like that a lot, Jackie.
Yeah, I don't, as we see McCurry lining up the goal kick. Aren't we all, as we're awaiting the goal kick? McCurry straight down the hay diddle diddle to Hugh Sloot. Pace and Hugh Sloot always kick each other. And now a bit of space. Well, Bidwell, Ackley with the fresh legs chasing down well, and
he's been
Lewis is
great, hasn't he? Look at that.
With the double header out for a throw in.
It was like a seal balancing a ball on its nose then. Beautiful stuff from Imran Lewis.
Maybe going to run out.
He's
Kept
made
in by
something
their
of
back
it.
post.
Oh, how did Braden Mann do that? He's really made something of it, but the fellow Devonport Strikers players just can't get on the end of that one. Have a look at that ludicrous ball in.
That is ludicrous. And
beautiful.
Very good clearance, I think that's from Walsh.
Harrison Wicks was arriving and about to thump in the equaliser too, so there is life in the Strikers yet as they swing it in with just about every man in the box. But Dom Smith can't head it back across the face, and the Dwayne pipe gets onto it. And
8 players in the box, and you managed to overhit every single one of them.
Yeah, a damn pity. Damn pity that one, but they'll keep trying, the Devonport Strikers. But good defending there too from Dwayne Walsh to just allow his team to push out of the box there and thump it away for the throw-in. Big head of Lukey Hoogsloot unsurprisingly wins that one. And they'll recycle it out wide through Warner, who's had a pretty damn good game too, as Turtle Holden gets the pressure on him and Ackley the fresh legs. But Holden and Bidwell a bit too strong there before the help from Pace arrives and bails out the 2 Zebra players.
That's going to nearly get through Dance. He gets a foot to it. Now Pace. Ackley has got Bidwell for company. But we'll lay it back to Nance, who'll, assuming, try and clear it, but plays it inside to Andrews, which is an interesting manoeuvre.
They didn't
Nice
have
one
any
too.
smaller shirts in the kit, did they?
No, they really
For
didn't.
Ackley.
And Griffin with the touch, and he clearly trips hands afterwards.
Almost like a stripy hospital gown, that one.
Well, it's a good thing they view him as a player of the future. They've clearly bought the shirt for him with the future in mind.
Yeah,
Presumably in 4 years' time, that
Yeah,
will
that
fit
was my parents' philosophy, you know, during school. That he send you off to a Catholic school and make you wear a blazer that's 6 sizes too big in grade 7. Shocking stuff, Mum and Dad.
him. Don't want to go buying 2 of them.
Oh, well,
Fair
that's
play,
what they
Mum and
say.
Dad. Fair
Oh.
play is surging through his pace. It'll be brought back.
I'm sure I'd think the same in 10 years, apart from sending someone to one of those schools.
Before we get into dangerous areas there, we'll have a Devonport free kick, which Braden Mann will probably put his name on. Reynolds is going to go forward, so will he opt for the long range speculator, or will he try and chip one onto the head of big Raph Reynolds?
And my public northern suburbs.
Take it with your
schooling.
laces, Braden. This is going to be Roberto Carlos-esque.
I reckon firing one on target and having the strikers following up into the 6-yard box
Not
might
a
be
bad
the option. He drives it straight into the wall, so
Boots of the wall.
not a great free kick to say the least there from Braden Mann, but they might get another chance to put something in as Harrison Wicks looks to get in behind the Dwayne Pipe, who
Should have
stuck to
played
him well.
1-2 with Smith there. Smith was in all kinds of space, and it just would have provided the little shake you need to lose the Dwayne Pipe there rather than the Dwayne Walsh Pipe.
Yeah, he's got speed, Wicks, and he can get around most defenders, but Dwayne Walsh has got some fairly serious wheels on him himself and was keeping stride, so wrong option in the end as Dance plays it to Reynolds. Raph Reynolds tries to skip around to Sanders, works it to Andrews, back to Reynolds, to Andrews, to Reynolds again. They're probing, but they couldn't break through.
Yeah, really showing that he's got some experience in midfield there, Raph Reynolds, because the link-up play was quite extraordinary there. We see Bidwell try and get a cross in, but he's really hacked that one and failed to wrap his boot around it. Peters away for a corner.
Reynolds running back to his usual centre-back position. I wouldn't be too opposed to him having a bit more of a freer role. And with only 10 minutes to go, you certainly need... I mean, I guess you can allow a draw, but you really got to go after the win here if you're Devonport. So only about 8 minutes left, plus stoppage time. Curie has, as we've seen the last 10 minutes, taking his time with the goal kicks.
They're very hard to break down, Zebras, and even as their form has fallen off this year, they've remained such a good defence, the best in the league, and we've seen that again today. They're quite content to sit back and make themselves hard to break down, and with the likes of Huxlett and Pace dropping in quite tight to the centre-backs, there's not a lot of room to operate for Devonport, and it's reaching real desperation stakes for them now. Even one goal's probably not going to be enough for them. They need 2 in the next 10 minutes here. They've got to force the issue. But they're struggling to get through a very stubborn rear guard of the Zebras. That's surely a foul.
Yeah, there'll certainly be a few happy Mortons if they're tuning in here today.
Well, there's one on the far side, so there'll certainly be a happy
Well, there you go.
A happy viewer as the ball plays out wide to Bidwell, who, if he can get a ball in, but that's good defence from Warrener.
Might
Up
have to
for
get
a corner kick.
We might have to get a shot of that at the end of the 90. You might see a little bit of the fist pump there from Ken Morton.
Yeah,
could be a pretty big result for them.
Not one to give too much away, I think, the Silver Fox, but I reckon on the inside he will be dancing right now.
Yeah.
I think it'd be more like Nick to give a fist pump rather than Ken.
Well,
Little quiet one, I'd imagine, from Kenny Morton.
As this one's going to be swung into the back post. Smith was there off his back, and the keeper collects. 6 minutes plus change remaining in the 90.
They're holding firm here, the Devonport strikers. That's a bit of a aimless ball there. Paid the handball there, I think, but he looked a little bit like off the shoulder, but they'll get it moving quickly, the strikers.
And some of, say, Reynolds in the centre of the park.
That's a great ball and a great run from Wicks.
It certainly is, and Wicks now hits it in first time, but it's going to fall right down the throat of the goalkeeper.
Disappointing ball, but wide and tight to the touchline there from Wicks, which offers you that little bit of extra space that can be so crucial when you're trying to get in behind, particularly the Pep Guardiola school of football philosophy, that one. But a really good ball through. I think it was played by Dance to him, so they'll be looking to get a few more of them here, as we're seeing Eddie Bidwell attempt to do the same thing up this far side. And they're going to go to him, I think, but just perhaps making the run a little bit too far inside.
Yeah, now we're off wing back watch. It's back to the keeper. Certainly where Devonport likes to play out from. It's maybe even one of the reasons why Lindsay Millington hasn't come on yet. Another one of their strikers. As we see Reynolds, the ball in the centre of the park, got four advanced.
I'd be pretty surprised if we don't see Millington in for Argent before this game is out, because they really need to change something up pretty soon, I'd say.
Yeah, probably could have done that
The young
15
lad,
minutes ago.
Yeah,
if they
the young
wanted
lad
to do it.
hasn't had the easiest of games against two pretty imposing Zebra centre-backs who do have the equal least goals conceded, so it's been a solid defence, and they've really stifled him quite well today. Well done there from Pace too to get an interception and have a run at Raph Reynolds, and he's got no other options, so why not?
And he's beaten 3 so far, and it only took
Dom Smith, well done.
Smith coming across from left centre back just to stick a foot in. Reynolds now, trying to play it to Luke Argent, who's got to hold off Grunwald. Not sure about that one, as we see Hugh Sloot pick it up. Sanders with Ackley staying onside, but just overhit. And Lewis up that one in. Turnal Holden just to get that from underneath Hugh Sloot, so balls to Mann. And Smith. Huggy stayed down for the moment. We'll now get the ball back.
Oh, audacious.
Goes the audacious. Not sure what that was, considering he just had cramp. But
exactly. He's seconds ago on the deck and just recovered quite well there to launch the audacious attempted chip from halfway there, Luke Hoogsloot.
And nearly through again. It's now Turtle Holden. Great defence from Cal Griffin. Now Bidwell needs to try and get past Warren and knocks it past. And Warren, I think, actually concedes a corner there. We didn't really have to. There's the accuracy from Devonport. About as good as a certain someone else's.
Yeah, Patrick Dangerfield hitting the post.
5'6" is interesting.
5'7".
7 as we see the back post. The launching point, Mercury just gets
we're
there.
going to get hung up and
Shot
blocked.
comes in. Lewis clears it. Only thrown the bicycle. It nearly touched from Argent.
why couldn't
There's
it go
been
in?
about- there's
Why
been
couldn't it go in?
About 3 shots in 5 seconds here.
Really turning the screws now, the Devonport strikers, as Eddie Bidwell looks to play another one into the box. And Raph
That's
Reynolds equalises! Incredible scenes here. They've kept their title hopes alive here, the Devonport strikers, and they're going to be pushing hard in the next 5 minutes to try and snatch another one.
Yeah, let's see what they can do as we see Eddie Bidwell. Just a little chip ball. Reynolds just beats the keeper. One person called for offside.
He stayed up when they needed him, Raph Reynolds, and they had to take the risk, and it looks like it's paid off. And geez, the game has changed now, hasn't it, boys? They will be coming, the Devonport strikers.
Look, they certainly do need another one, but 1 point is better than none at the moment. So we'll see whether it's all Devonport or if Zebras even may want to get the victory that so looked a long time like it was well within their grasp. Reynolds now playing almost as a defensive mid rather than centre back. Man being held off by Griffin.
It's got to be a slice.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
that
that's
too. Andrews plays it short. Argent 1-2. Grunwald read it well. Argent trying to track back.
And you just worry that they're going to open up some spaces behind them as this attacking gets even more frenetic, and we see that happening. It's Sanders. He's got Booger on the other side. Takes a good touch, and he chips it over the top, and that is that. The Zebras have probably just tied up that game, and doesn't he love it? The shirt's off, he's in the crowd, and he's over the moon. Beautiful stuff there.
That's one
John Booger.
That's one of the quickest shirts off I've ever seen for a celebration.
Yeah, I tell you what, it was gone, wasn't it? And he loves it.
Loving that Sunday McCune there out of the far side.
He wanted to get that rig out.
He wanted to get that rig out.
He's going, right, look at me, everyone. He's probably just won the game for his team. Fair play to him. The strikers heartbreak. They finally claw back that goal within a minute. Down 3-2 again.
Wonderful celebration. I say for all money, that's a cheese.
But you could see it happening, couldn't you, boys? The attacking just got so much more frenetic after that goal that they scored to equalise the Devonport strikers. And with that space opening up behind them, they punished them clinically, the Zebras.
They had to, though, Devonport. They had to throw everyone forward,
Oh,
roll the dice. A draw
course.
is absolutely no use. You might as well die wondering, which looks like they're going to do, but look, it's sometimes
You give
not
them
gonna
credit
come
for
off.
going for it.
Yeah, they certainly had to throw people
Because at this
forward.
stage of the season, you're not going to lie down to it, are you? So fair play to the strikers, but even fairer play, you have to say, to the Zebs, who have been the better side today. They've been solid at the back and lethal on the counter.
Yeah, I'd also say they've been probably deserved of
They
being
probably-
in front. I
they
mean, 90th
really
minute.
dominated possession for the first 20 minutes, and then they've essentially been sitting back and hitting them with pace, haven't they? So
Yeah, it's an interesting ball back. Ackley pressuring the keeper. Nicely done from Zykos. See what Dance
cracking
can
game
do.
of
There's-
football, though.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyable as there's still 5 Devonport players in attack. Now Andrews to Argent.
Poor touch.
Yeah, and the Colonel tracking back. 3 around him. Falls to Warren up, who is kept in from Bidwell.
Lets him in there.
Now he tries to go inside.
Oh, it was a good battle, wasn't it?
Eventually gets there, and I think there's about 2 fouls against him eventually. So that'll retrieve actually the first goal for Raf Reynolds this season, which given the height and he's takes a fair few corner kicks as well.
What I really liked about the goal that he scored is that there was no mucking around celebrating. He was straight back to try and get onto it and get that 3rd goal, but fortunately for them, just wasn't quite enough.
And as we see Wicks battling with the goal scorer. Now Reynolds out wide, finds Andrews, tries to duck inside. Reynolds slides in on Rippon. That's gotta hurt. It was an interesting challenge, to say the least.
Yeah, almost as interesting as the game at the MCG, Funty.
Yeah, absolutely. If the iPad hadn't frozen, I'd figure it out.
88-85 the Cats, Funty. Unlucky,
you.
buddy.
Yeah,
just
look-
don't want you to be unaware of what's going on
no.
there.
I mean, I like that you like to keep
Cop
me
it,
informed.
Funty. The Hawks suck.
Mate, as I said earlier, I'm ready for a few seasons of mediocrity 12th. It's been a while.
Oh, and you blokes deserve more than a couple of decades of it, to be honest.
Yeah, last time they were rubbish was when I was in primary school, and let's say I'm a long way out of that.
Yeah.
God damn you. Anyway, forward it goes as we're in the dying embers of this one. It looks like it's going to be the Zebras' day. A 3-2 win. They'll get their season back on track to a certain extent after a pretty lean patch for Devonport. Well, South Hobart, you'd expect
Curtains.
to win tomorrow. It
Curtains.
could well be 7 points, and you
I'm
think
gonna
that's
be
too
in party
much.
mode tomorrow.
You think it's going to be a long way back now for the Devonport strikers. Reynolds, he's battled hard. He's pushed on in the midfield in the second half. He's tried to drive the play. He got him back on terms for a brief moment, but ultimately it looks like they're going to fall just short today. And with 5 rounds left after this one, should South Hobart win tomorrow, even with the game up at Valley Road between their sides, 7 points. Surely a bridge too far as Holden still battling hard. But he can't get around Ackley here, who just chips the forward. Zykos is going to have to go.
Zykos.
And he does get there.
Oh,
That's what I like
half.
to see, a keeper in his own half. That's another crunching challenge. Eventually given. I'm all for the keeper
Go
being
up,
in the
Zykos.
Up, Zykos.
Go up.
Get up.
Go up.
Get
Go
up.
up, lad. Number 1, Zykos, what are you doing?
He's sitting on halfway.
If there's any hope, get up there, son. Get in the box. No mucking around. This is squeaky bum time. It's time to get in there. But he's not going to, unfortunately. He will be playing the midfield sweepers role.
Everyone else is up there, to be fair. Every other player in the box.
Yep, get them all up there.
But,
Gotta
He's
throw
just
everything
waiting for
at
the ball
this.
to bounce outside the box and rifle it.
he'll smash the volley if he gets on the rebound. Holden curls it in there, stands it up, and Imran Lewis, who's been a towering presence
He
all
has
day,
been man of the match, is what
Throws
he's
it
been.
away, thumps it down the line, and that's why Zykos is situated there before Sean Bugart can get on the end of that one and grab a second of the day. Long direct ball from Bidwell, headed away by the Colonel. The final whistle can't be too far off now. Sets it out in front of Ackley. Bidwell got there first. He hacks it
Lumps it.
forward. Lovely ball in the end. Hugh Sloot with a good challenge. Bidwell down the line to Reynolds. He stretches and brings it under his spell.
They need to get moving. You have to think that there is an absolute maximum of 30 seconds to go in this game, and that is a poor pass from Turtle Holden that will be the final action. And it's a 3-2 victory to the Hobart Zebras over the Devonport Strikers, who may find that their title hopes are crumbling here today. And I didn't quite see the fist pump from old Kenny Morton, the Silver Fox, on the far side. But there were a few hands being shaken there, so
I reckon
they certainly seem pretty happy about that result.
I reckon all our South Hobart viewers are loving this result. Very, very enjoyable contest here. KGV got back to 2-all with only a couple of minutes left, and then with Devonport throwing everything forward. The lightning counter attack of Sanders and Booger just unfortunately put them away.
It's very hard for me to pick whether or not Imran Lewis or Matthew Sanders was the best on today. I think you'd have to go Sanders for the brace and the assist, but Imran Lewis was just imperious at the back there for the Hobart Zebras.
So you look at the opening goal, Keefe would probably feel he should have done more on that one.
Needed a stronger hand there, I think, did Zykos, but a good finish there from Colonel Sanders for his first one.
And really, errors from Zykos and Reynolds in the build-up there. It's been uncharacteristic of them, but it was going to happen eventually. But they did get back on terms, and they had the better of the first half in the end.
And this was a beautiful ball from Turtle Holden through to Braden Mann, wasn't it? And just a calm little finish. He barely even touched the ball, really, but he got enough on it to just stroke it into that far right-hand side with his left boot. Typically clinical finish there. And the penalty, that was quite controversial because there was a little bit of a hand to the ball, but perhaps just a little bit of a hand to the ball in the foul from the goalkeeper, but perhaps just following through a little bit too much after giving the ball away again. So perhaps a fair foul there, but clinically dispatched there from Colonel Sanders too. And just a little bit of a struggle here at the end as they're just trying to lump the ball anywhere to try and get a goal in. But well done there from Raph Reynolds, who stayed forward from centre-back to try and get his team back in the game. But we did telegraph what could happen, and it did happen very soon after this. The space opened up at the back. Colonel Sanders with a glorious ball in over the top to Booger, who chips the keepers, rips the kid off, and goes and jumps into the crowd because he'd won the game for his team.
That was how it ended. John Booger's first goal for the Zebras, a match winner, and one that he will remember. So, after a pretty difficult run of games, the Hobart Zebras are back on the winners list. A decisive 3 points today for Devonport. 3 weeks in a row they've dropped points. They've had a fantastic season, perhaps a really young side, just lagging a little bit as the year's gone on. They've fought hard. I still think they're going to give South Hobart a really tough game when they meet at Valley Road, but results going to need to fall their way now.
This is interesting. They've just come into a bit of a huddle out on the pitch here, the Devonport Strikers.
Done that a few times, Gallo.
Yeah, have a
like that.
Lots of post-game conference, but
have a bit of a meeting there and say that you've just got to keep trying really for the league, because they've got a game against South Hobart, and you never know if South drop the game tomorrow, they could bring themselves back into it. But it is a 7-point gap now, isn't it, Cooling? I think at the top of the table, so it could be very difficult. Potentially 7 with a victory tomorrow.
We'll have that game live for you on Slice of Cheese. Until then, catch Rangers and City this evening. Also, the Warriors taking on the Lions. But we'll be back tomorrow with South Hobart looking to go 7 points clear on top when they take on Clarence. But from us here at KG5, it's bye for now.